Have you ever walked into a room and felt like the energy shifted the moment you stepped in? Heads turned, conversations paused, but you weren't loud, flashy, or even trying to stand out. Still, people noticed. Maybe you've always felt different, like you didn't quite fit in. Not because you weren't good enough, but because something about you stood apart. And maybe, just maybe, you've been told things like, "You're too intense. You feel too much. You overthink everything." If that sounds familiar, I want you to lean in, because the truth is your energy might be more powerful than you realize. We live in a world that rewards noise, distraction, and surface-level charm. But you carry something deeper, something magnetic, something unforgettable. In this video, I'm going to show you 5 undeniable signs that your aura isn't just strong, it's rare. It's the reason strangers open up to you, why people trust you without knowing why, and why you often feel drained in chaotic spaces. This isn't just self-help fluff. It's grounded in ancient Stoic wisdom and real emotional intelligence. So if you've ever felt different and wondered why, stay with me. By the end of this video, you may finally understand the truth behind your presence and why you're not like everyone else. Before we dive into the 5 signs, I want to set the stage and give you a deeper understanding of what your aura really is and why it matters more than you might think. Because, let's be honest, aura sounds a bit mystical, maybe even woo-woo, right? But I want to challenge that. Your aura is not some vague spiritual fluff floating around you. It's the energy you carry, the emotional frequency you project into the world every single day. And the thing is, whether you realize it or not, everyone has one. The difference, some people's auras are faint, shaky, reactive, but others, maybe you, walk around with something grounded, calming, magnetic. And that's what we're here to talk about. Think of your aura like an emotional speaker. Before you open your mouth, it's already saying something. It tells people, "I'm safe, I'm grounded, I see you." Or the opposite. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but how does that help me in real life? Great question. Let me give you an example. Say you're in a team meeting. There's tension in the room. People are guarded, stressed, on edge, but then you walk in and you don't even say a word. You're not trying to fix anyone. You're just there, fully present. Suddenly, the tone shifts. Someone exhales. The conversation gets a little more open. That's not coincidence. That's presence. That's your aura working without effort. Or maybe you're the kind of person people randomly open up to at the grocery store. You're standing in line minding your business, and the person in front of you starts talking about their divorce, their dream, or the thing they're most afraid of. You didn't ask, but they felt something in you, a kind of safety. This happens to people with powerful auras. Not because they want attention, but because their energy gives people permission to be real. And here's something else to keep in mind. Your aura is not fixed. It's not something you're born with and stuck with. It's shaped by the way you live, the way you process emotion, and, most importantly, the way you know yourself. Stoic philosophy has a lot to say about this. The Stoics taught that the only thing truly in our control is what's inside us. Our thoughts, our responses, our values. Everything else, opinions, chaos, reputation, even other people, is outside of our control. So the more you master your inner world, the more stable, grounded, and powerful your outer presence becomes. That's your aura. That's your edge. It's the reason why the calmest person in the room often ends up being the most influential. Not because they're loud, but because people feel them. Because they don't chase energy. They anchor it. Let me ask you something. Have you ever had a friend who made you feel like the safest version of yourself just by being around them? Maybe they didn't say much, but their silence wasn't awkward. It was peaceful. You didn't feel judged. You didn't feel like you had to impress them. You just felt seen. Chances are that person had a strong aura. And guess what? That could be you. Or it already is. But let's get real. Having a powerful aura isn't always easy. Sometimes people misunderstand your stillness as coldness. They mistake your confidence for arrogance. Or they feel uncomfortable around your calm simply because they haven't learned to find it in themselves yet. That's okay. Not everyone is meant to understand you. Your job isn't to shrink your energy so others can feel safe. Your job is to own your presence, gracefully, quietly, without apology. And if you're someone who spent your life feeling a little different, if you've ever wondered why you feel so deeply, why you notice things others miss, or why you carry so much of other people's emotions, let me tell you something. You are not broken. You are not too sensitive. You are not imagining things. You are powerful. You're just tuned in. You have a field of presence that others can feel, even if they can't name it. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through 5 signs that confirm what you've probably sensed your whole life, that your aura is different. It's strong, it's rare, and it's meant to be. And the best part, each of these signs comes with a practical insight, something you can use right now to stop doubting yourself and start living with more clarity, calm, and confidence. Because this isn't just about feeling good, it's about recognizing your quiet superpower and learning how to use it to navigate a noisy world. So let's get into it. Here are 5 signs your aura is powerful and you're not like everyone else. Let's start with sign number 1. People are drawn to you and they don't even know why. And I'm not talking about popularity. This isn't about being the loudest in the room, the most stylish, or the life of the party. No, I'm talking about something quieter, something more powerful. It's that moment when you walk into a space and the energy shifts, even if you don't say a word. You notice eyes glance in your direction, not because you're doing anything for attention, but because something about you naturally pulls it in. Ever had a stranger open up to you out of nowhere? You're standing in line at a coffee shop, just minding your business, and someone starts talking to you about their breakup, their anxiety, or something deeply personal. And you're thinking, wait, why are you telling me this? But deep down, you get it. You felt this happen more than once. It's not a coincidence, it's your aura. Powerful auras have gravitational pull, not because they're demanding attention, but because they radiate emotional safety. People can feel when you're grounded. They can sense when your presence is calm, present, and non-judgmental. In a chaotic world, people are starving for that kind of energy. And when they feel it, they move toward it, instinctively. Let me tell you a quick story. I was once at an airport, sitting across from a woman reading a book. She wasn't wearing designer clothes. She wasn't talking to anyone, just sitting there quietly, completely content. And in the span of 10 minutes, I watched 2 complete strangers approach her. One man ended up talking about the loss of his father. Another shared something about switching careers. She barely said much, just listened, nodded, held space. But you could feel the shift in energy. They left lighter, like something unspoken had been released. That's what I mean by a powerful aura. It's not something you wear, it's not something you fake, it's something you are. And here's the science behind it. Because yes, this isn't just a vibe thing. According to research from the HeartMath Institute, the human heart emits an electromagnetic field that changes based on your emotions. That field extends several feet outside of your body. People around you, whether consciously or not, pick up on that. So if you're emotionally balanced, steady, and self-aware, that's what you're transmitting. And people feel safe around that. It's also why coworkers might come to you with their problems, even if you're not their manager. Or why friends say, I don't know why, but I feel better after talking to you. You're not trying to fix anything. You're simply offering something most people aren't used to, emotional regulation. Now, let's make this real. Think back to a time when someone came to you in distress. Maybe they were crying, anxious, spiraling, and without needing to say the perfect thing, you just stayed calm. You didn't freak out. You didn't mirror their panic. You were just there, present, steady. In that moment, your aura gave them permission to breathe again. That's not just kindness, that's a skill, that's emotional strength, and it's rare. But here's the challenge. Because you're often the calm one, people may lean on you more than they should. You might find yourself carrying emotional loads that aren't yours to carry. You might end the day feeling drained, not because you did anything wrong, but because your energy is working overtime. That's why boundaries are crucial for people with powerful auras. You're not a dumping ground for everyone else's chaos. You're a mirror, a stabilizer, but you're not a sponge. So here's a practical takeaway. Start noticing how often people gravitate toward you when they're overwhelmed, and then ask yourself, am I offering support because I choose to, or because I feel obligated to? Support should come from overflow, not depletion. Your aura is a gift, but it's not unlimited. Protect it. Another thing, if people have told you you're easy to talk to, or that you give off a good vibe, don't brush that off. That's data. That's insight into how your presence affects people. Own it. You don't have to do anything flashy to be powerful. Sometimes the strongest energy is the quietest one in the room. So if people naturally open up to you, if they find peace in your presence, if your silence feels louder than other people's words, that's not just personality, that's power. And that's sign number one that your aura is stronger than you think. Let's move on to sign number 2. You can sense things before they happen. Now I know how that sounds. You might be thinking, wait, are we talking about psychic powers now? Nope, nothing woo-woo here. This isn't about reading minds or predicting the lottery. It's about intuition, emotional awareness. That subtle knowing you can't explain, but you felt it. Here's what I mean. Have you ever walked into a room and instantly felt that something was off? Maybe nobody said a word, but your stomach tightened. Your chest felt heavy. You sensed tension in the air, like something was about to go down. Then a few minutes later, you found out someone had just gotten bad news. Or 2 co-workers had been arguing before you arrived. And you thought, I knew it. I could feel it before I even knew what it was. That's not coincidence. That's your aura picking up emotional signals that others miss. It's like having surround sound in a world full of people still listening in mono. You don't just hear the words, you feel the frequency. Let me give you a story to make this more real. There was a woman named Jenna who always had these gut feelings before team meetings. Nothing dramatic, just a sense of unease. One morning, she felt this tight knot in her chest, and she couldn't explain why. She walked into the room and instantly noticed. No eye contact, awkward silence, tense body language. She didn't even need to ask. She knew something was wrong. By the end of the meeting, one of her teammates was let go. Now, Jenna didn't have insider information. She wasn't told anything in advance, but her body knew before her brain did. Why? Because her nervous system was tuned in. Her aura was reading the room, not just from logic, but from subtle emotional data that most people overlook. This ability is more common among people with powerful auras, but it's not always easy to live with. Because when you're that tuned in, you don't just see surface behavior, you absorb energy. And that can be overwhelming. Have you ever been in a crowd and suddenly felt exhausted for no clear reason? Or had a conversation that left you feeling drained, even if the topic was light? You were probably taking on energy that wasn't yours. That's why this sign comes with both a gift and a responsibility. You have a heightened emotional radar, but if you don't protect your energy, it can knock you off balance. So what do you do? This is where Stoicism becomes a powerful tool. The Stoics taught that the only thing we control is ourselves. Not other people's emotions, not external events, just our own responses. And that starts with awareness. You have to start asking yourself, is what I'm feeling actually mine, or am I carrying someone else's emotions right now? That one question can shift your whole day. It can give you clarity in the middle of emotional fog. Let's try this. Think about the last time you walked away from a conversation feeling off, agitated, sad, irritated, and you couldn't pinpoint why. Ask yourself, was that my energy, or did I absorb theirs? Sometimes we carry emotions that don't belong to us and we mistake them for truth. But once you learn to separate what's yours from what isn't, you become emotionally unstoppable. Here's a simple practice to help. Before you enter a space, a meeting, a family dinner, a crowded room, pause, take a breath, ground yourself. Remind your body, I am me. I don't need to absorb everything around me. I choose what stays. That tiny moment of intention, that's energetic armor. It doesn't make you cold, it makes you clear. Because powerful auras don't come from absorbing everything. They come from knowing what to carry and what to release. And here's the magic. When you start trusting your intuition, you'll see that it rarely screams. It whispers. It doesn't force. It guides. And when you listen to it consistently, it becomes a tool, a compass. Jenna, the woman I mentioned earlier, started following her instincts more. She'd sense when a teammate needed support and check in. She'd notice when something felt off in a project and raise a red flag before things went sideways. Over time, her team started calling her the emotional radar of the group. Not because she was emotional, but because she was present. She felt what others missed, and she turned that sensitivity into strength. So here's your takeaway from sign number 2. If you're someone who picks up on unspoken tension, if you can feel the room before it speaks, if your instincts are often right, even when you don't know why, trust that. You're not making it up. You're not too sensitive. You're not imagining things. You're just deeply tuned in, and that is a form of wisdom. It's not about reacting to every feeling. It's about recognizing, filtering, and responding from a place of calm clarity. That's the difference between being emotionally overwhelmed and being emotionally aligned. So the next time something inside you whispers, "Something's not right," pause, listen, observe. Chances are your aura already knows. All right, let's talk about sign number 3. Your energy actually affects the physical world around you. Now, this one might sound a little out there at first, but stick with me because I promise it's more real than you think. Have you ever noticed strange things happening around you when you're under emotional stress? Like your phone overheating during a tense call, or your smartwatch glitching when you're anxious, or animals reacting to you differently when you're in a bad mood. These aren't random flukes. These are energetic signatures, reflections of the intensity of your aura. Let's break it down. Your body is not just a physical system, it's also an energetic one. And science is beginning to catch up to what ancient wisdom has known all along. Your emotional state doesn't just stay inside you, it radiates outward. According to studies from institutions like HeartMath and other biofield researchers, your body emits electromagnetic fields, particularly through your heart and brain. These fields fluctuate depending on your stress levels, your emotions, your clarity, even your intentions. And when your aura is especially powerful, those fields become more intense, more perceptible, and yes, even physically influential. Think of it like this. Have you ever walked into a room and suddenly everyone goes quiet? Not because you interrupted anything, but because your presence alone demanded stillness? Or maybe the opposite. You enter a space that feels chaotic, but your calm instantly starts to settle the energy. People soften, the tension lifts, the mood shifts. You didn't do anything dramatic. You just showed up fully aligned, and that was enough to move the energy in the room. That's not ego. That's aura in action. Let me give you a personal example. There's a guy I know, we'll call him David. Super grounded, thoughtful, very in tune with himself. But during a particularly stressful season in his life, dealing with a family emergency and burnout from work, he started noticing strange tech glitches. His laptop would crash during calm video calls, but only when he felt overwhelmed inside. His car key fob randomly stopped working, but only when he held it. And even more oddly, his dog. Normally a playful pup would hide in another room when David was upset, even if David hadn't said a word. At first, he brushed it off, but after journaling and tracking the patterns, he saw the connection. His emotional intensity was rippling out into the physical world. Now, was he breaking electronics with his mind? No, not in some superhero kind of way. But his internal frequency was high enough and unregulated enough that it was disrupting sensitive systems around him. Just like solar flares interfere with satellites, your aura can disrupt subtle systems when it's in overdrive. And this isn't bad news. It's actually a superpower if you know how to work with it. The Stoics had a word for this kind of control: sophrosyne, self-mastery, emotional harmony. They didn't believe in suppressing feelings. They believed in understanding them, directing them, and aligning them with reason. And that's what people with powerful auras have to learn to do. Because when your energy is strong, it doesn't just influence emotions, it starts shaping outcomes. That's why presence matters. It's why being intentional with your internal state isn't just about peace of mind. It's about being in alignment with how you want to show up in the world. So, how do you apply this? Simple. Start becoming aware of how your body and energy shift your environment. Notice how animals respond to you. Pay attention to how technology functions around you when you're overwhelmed versus calm. Observe how people behave in your presence, especially when you're not speaking. These aren't hallucinations, they're data. And when you begin to see the link between your inner climate and your outer experience, you unlock a whole new level of power. But here's the part people don't tell you. If you're not intentional, this energy can turn against you. When you're scattered, anxious, or constantly reactive, your aura doesn't stop radiating. It just radiates chaos. And you'll start seeing that chaos mirrored back to you. In miscommunications, in drained batteries, in frayed relationships, in situations spiraling for no reason. So here's a question worth journaling on. When I walk into a room, what happens to the energy? Does it rise, settle, or fracture? And more importantly, what can I do to center myself so I project the kind of energy I want to live in? For some people, that centering comes through breathwork. For others, it's journaling, grounding, visualization, or just a few minutes of silence. Find your anchor and return to it often, because the world is responding to you. And the more powerful your aura becomes, the louder that response gets. So don't ignore the signs. If your presence makes tech flicker, people pause, or animals shift, don't be weirded out, be aware. You're not too much, you're not unstable, you're just energetically potent. The challenge and the gift is to channel that potency with intention, to align your inner world so that what flows outward is clarity, not confusion. And that's how you turn your aura into your greatest influence. That's sign number 3. Now let's keep going, because if you've seen yourself in these signs so far, you're going to want to hear what's next. Let's move on to sign number 4. You instinctively know when to step back, and you don't need to explain yourself. This one is powerful, but often misunderstood, because in a world that constantly praises hustle, busyness, and being on all the time, choosing silence or solitude can seem wrong. People might even question it. Why are you so quiet today? You okay? You've been distant lately. But here's the truth. If your aura is strong, you've probably developed an almost instinctive radar for energy. And that means you know when it's time to pull back. Not because you're being rude, not because you're isolating, but because you're protecting your space and your energy field from being depleted. People with powerful auras often play a silent but critical role in any environment they're in. Whether it's work, school, or home, they manage the emotional temperature of the room without even realizing it. Let me give you an example. Angela, a middle school teacher I know, used to feel exhausted after every class. Not because she didn't love teaching, but because she felt like she was holding the weight of the whole classroom's emotional energy. If a student came in upset, she could feel it instantly. If there was tension in the group, she found herself adjusting her own behavior to create balance. And by the end of the day, even if the class went fine, she felt completely drained. She didn't realize it at the time, but what was happening was this. Her aura was doing more than teach. It was absorbing, balancing, regulating the entire room. So what did she do? She started listening to the urge to retreat instead of resisting it. Between classes, instead of chatting in the staff lounge, she'd step outside, take a breath, put her feet on the ground, visualize herself letting go of any energy that didn't belong to her. At first, she worried people would think she was cold or antisocial, but over time she realized something crucial. This wasn't selfish, it was strategic. And this is what I want you to remember. When your aura is powerful, it's constantly working, even when you're just existing. You shift rooms, you calm chaos, you give people emotional space just by being you. And that means you must know when to recharge. Because if you don't protect your own energy, no one else will. Let me ask you this. Have you ever walked away from a conversation or a space and felt like your whole body just exhaled? Like the minute you were alone, your nervous system finally relaxed? That's your aura telling you, thank you, I needed that. But here's the problem. Most people with strong energy fields feel guilty about saying no. They worry that stepping back makes them look unkind, detached, or distant. It doesn't. It means you have self-awareness. It means you understand the limits of your emotional bandwidth, and that is a form of wisdom. The Stoics were masters at this. They believed that energy should never be wasted on what doesn't serve your purpose. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." That applies to actions and it applies to energy. You don't owe anyone your presence just because they expect it. You don't need to show up for everything. You don't need to pour from a cup that's already empty. So here's something to try the next time you feel overwhelmed or overstimulated. Ground yourself. Take 60 seconds, close your eyes, breathe deeply, and imagine roots growing from your feet into the ground, anchoring you, pulling away anything that doesn't serve you. This isn't just a cute visualization, it's an act of energetic hygiene. And at the end of the day, try this. Imagine a golden light pouring down over your body, clearing out any energy that isn't yours. Release it. Let it go. Come back to center. These small rituals can make a huge difference in maintaining your emotional strength, especially when your aura is constantly interacting with others. Remember, your strength isn't just in what you give, it's in what you protect. And one of the clearest signs of an aligned, rare aura is the ability to retreat without guilt, to say no with love, to step away so you can show up more powerfully next time. So the next time your body says, "I need space," honor it. That's your aura doing its job. That's you preserving the very energy that draws people to you in the first place. Sign number 4 is all about that inner wisdom, knowing when to engage and when to withdraw, not as weakness, but as strength. We've made it to sign number 5. And honestly, this one might be the most magical of all. You manifest quickly and attract synchronicities. Let's talk about what that means, because it's more grounded than it sounds. If you've ever had a random thought and then suddenly that thought shows up in a conversation, in a phone call, in a situation, you know what I'm talking about. Or maybe you've been thinking about someone and they text you out of nowhere. Or you're struggling with something and the exact book, quote, or stranger shows up in your life to give you the clarity you needed. It feels like coincidence, right? But here's the truth. When your aura is powerful and aligned, you're not just reacting to life, you're actually co-creating with it. And when you're clear inside, when your thoughts, emotions, and actions are all in sync, the outer world starts responding to that clarity in subtle but profound ways. Think of it like this. Your energy field doesn't stop at your skin. It extends outward like a signal, and it interacts with everything around you. And when that signal is strong and intentional, it doesn't just attract people. It attracts outcomes, opportunities, and direction. Let me tell you a quick story. There was a man named Dylan who always joked that the universe was eavesdropping on his journal. Why? Because every time he would write something with clear intention, a goal, a need, even a simple question, within days, something would happen that moved him closer to it. Once, he wrote about wanting to transition careers, but didn't know where to start. 2 days later, he struck up a random conversation with someone at a cafe who happened to work in the exact field he was considering. That person ended up connecting him with an opportunity that changed his life. Coincidence? Maybe. But when it happens over and over again, you stop calling it coincidence and start calling it alignment. Here's what most people don't realize. We're always manifesting. The question is, what are you manifesting? Because if your inner world is full of fear, doubt, scattered energy, you'll attract situations that reflect that back to you. But if your aura is calm, focused, and emotionally clear, you start attracting exactly what you need. Not always what your ego wants, but what your soul is ready for. And that's the power of a strong aura. It magnifies your inner state until the outside world starts rearranging itself to meet it. So how do you harness this in your everyday life? Start by noticing the patterns. Next time something aligns too perfectly, pause. Ask yourself, what energy was I in when this showed up? Was I centered, calm, focused, or was I anxious, grasping, and reactive? That reflection will tell you a lot. The Stoics were actually ahead of their time here. They believed that if we can master our internal world, we can live in harmony with the natural order of things. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it." That's not just philosophy, that's manifestation. So here's what you can start doing right now. 1. Set clear intentions. Don't just wish for peace or love or success. Define what it looks like, what it feels like. 2. Align your emotions. If you want peace but live in constant stress, your aura sends mixed signals. Bring your inner state into alignment with what you're asking for. 3. Let go of control. Once you set your intention, release the outcome. You don't need to force it. A strong aura doesn't hustle, it attracts. And don't be surprised if you start seeing synchronicities more often. You'll overhear a conversation that answers your question. You'll see the same phrase 3 times in one day. You'll feel pulled towards something that just feels right. These are rights. They're signs that your energy is communicating and the universe is responding. But here's the warning. If your inner state is chaotic, reactive, or full of self-doubt, your aura still manifests, just not in the direction you want. This is why discipline is so important. Not the harsh, rigid kind, but the kind that says, I care enough about my energy to guard it, direct it, and refine it. When you become intentional with your energy, your life becomes intentional. So if you've noticed lately that your thoughts seem to become real faster than before, if the right people, messages, or opportunities are appearing without you chasing them, if your life feels like it's meeting you halfway, you're not lucky, you're aligned, and your aura is doing the heavy lifting. That's sign number 5. And honestly, it's the sign that your presence isn't just powerful, it's creative. You're not just navigating life, you're shaping it. One clear thought, one calm emotion, one aligned decision at a time. So take a deep breath. This is your reminder that your energy is not passive, it's a force. Use it wisely. So there you have it. 5 powerful signs that your aura isn't just strong, it's rare, aligned, and deeply felt by the world around you. Maybe as you were listening, you saw yourself in one sign, maybe all 5, and maybe for the first time, something clicked. You realized, I'm not imagining this. I'm not too sensitive. I'm not too different. I just carry a presence most people don't understand yet. That realization alone, it's powerful. Your aura is not about ego. It's not about being better than anyone else. It's about being deeply connected to yourself, to your truth, to the energy you bring into every space you enter. And that's not something you have to force. It's something you own. So protect it, refine it, and above all, trust it. If this video resonated with you, I'd genuinely love to hear which sign felt the most true for you. Drop a comment below. Your story might just help someone else see their own aura more clearly. And hey, if you're still watching and found value in this message, it would mean a lot if you gently tap the like button, subscribed if you haven't already, and shared this with someone you know who's been quietly carrying a powerful presence of their own. No pressure. Just an open invitation to keep this energy moving. Thank you for spending this time with me. Keep showing up as your whole self. Keep trusting your energy. And remember, you're not like everyone else. And that's exactly your power. I'll see you in the next one.